Here with Mike with another writing tip.
Good morning, folks. This is about humor in writing. Whether you write comics or novels, a dash of humor is always welcome. Shakespeare understood that humor belongs in every story. That's why even his grimmest dramas, like Macbeth or Richard III, contain traces of humor, wordplay, and jives. You know that if you have a bucket of white paint and you drop one droplet of black into the paint, it'll make the white shine that much brighter. And if you don't believe me, just try it. There's a hierarchy of humor. At the bottom are puns. Puns are the lowest form of humor. At the top is absurdity. What really gets those belly laughs rolling is the juxtaposition of the sacred and the profane. Well, I don't like jokes because jokes are contrived little things designed to make you laugh, and they're not at the top of the hierarchy. Jokes are somewhere near the bottom, but occasionally a joke comes along that illustrates that principle. A man comes home from work, he has to go to the bathroom. He goes into the bathroom, and while he's sitting there on the toilet, he sees a can of hairspray that's almost depleted, so he decides to get rid of it. He sticks it down between his legs and he sprays the remainder into the toilet. Then he lights a cigarette. When he flicks an ash into the cigarette, the whole thing explodes. It explodes so hard that it jams the toilet seat onto his ass. And his wife has to call a medical team to take him to the hospital to have the toilet seat removed. So he's lying face down on the gurney as they're walking out. A medical technician looks at his ass with this toilet seat framed, jammed on his ass and said, "Sure, it's nice, but did you have to frame it?" And that's what I mean by the juxtaposition of the sacred and the profane. Laughter serves many purposes. It increases oxygen to the lungs, it breaks down barriers between people, and it brings us joy. Some laugh at good news, some laugh in relief. That doesn't explain why something's funny. I don't know how many of you have seen Blazing Saddles or other Mel Brooks movies, but Mel used the kitchen sink approach. He threw in anything and everything he thought would get a chuckle. And even though a lot of his jokes are stupid and not funny, there are enough in there that will elicit laughter that it works. I don't choose my stories choose me. Every time I went online, there was a new Florida man story. And the Florida man stories illustrate this principle perfectly. Florida man gets beat up by the Easter Bunny. Florida man busted with meth, guns, and baby gator in truck. Naked Florida man humps tree, punches deputy. Florida man calls 911 multiple times asking deputies to bring him ice cream and liquor. Florida man claims syringe found in rectum is not his. And my favorite, Florida man arrested riding lawnmower with homemade liquor bomb to blow up neighbor's chicken coop. Once I had absorbed about 2,000 of these stories, I realized I had to write a novel about them, and so Gary Duba was born. I'm working on the fourth Florida Man novel now. The challenge with Gary is to put him into the most absurd, humiliating scenarios imaginable, and that's where the humor comes from. In the third Florida Man novel, he's joined by the Duke and Duchess of Ducats, which are thinly disguised Prince Harry and Princess Megan. We call them Prince Larry and Princess Regan. You have to read the novel to find out how they get together because they're unlikely bedfellows, and unlikely bedfellows naturally create humor just by interacting with each other like flint and iron. The prince wants to go gator hunting in the swamp with his $12,000 custom-made shotgun. And it says, at one point he says, "I tell you, chap, I must relieve myself." And Gary says, "Well, yeah, go ahead and relieve yourself, but be careful because there are snapping turtles out there." So the prince goes off. He's not paying attention. He's taking a leak. The snapping turtle latches onto his manhood. Fortunately, they have a drone up to film the whole thing. And then when they get back to camp, they get in a furious argument about whether to release the video. Will it help or hurt the royal couple's public image? Eventually, they decide to release it. When I describe it, it's not as funny as when I write it, because when you write it, you're looking for a rhythm and a punchline, and a lot of it is timing. And any experienced comedian will tell you timing is everything. And ask me, what is the key to comedy?
What is the key to
Timing.
Okay. Freddie thought that was funny too.
Freddie's a very funny dog. But my point is that there's always room for humor. You don't want to overload it. Even Schindler's List has a couple of jokes. So if you're trying to create humor in your story, keep your eyes peeled and your ears open for things that actually happen in real life that are funny. And if you can find a way to work them in, do it. And always remember that the greatest humor arises out of contradictions and absurdity, the melding of the sacred and the profane. Thank you.
All right. Very good. Another great writing tip. So last week was Mike's, what was it, 73rd birthday. So what? Oh, we don't tell the age. Okay. Well, anyway, happy birthday. I think a lot of you had wished him a happy birthday. Freddie says hi. Freddie. Look at mommy. Okay. All right. Anything else? I think that you have good news on Thin Blue Line.
Oh yeah, and in case you don't know, we've announced this. Thin Blue Line is printed. It's at the Fulfiller's house, and the first copies are going out this week.
Yeah, and there's a lot of books to mail out, so it probably will take, maybe about this month to get all the books out and...
At least.
Yeah, all the books out and different rewards. So thank you for everyone being patient. Appreciate it. Thank you for everyone that backed the Thin Blue Line. And until next Wednesday, we'll see you next week. Thank you.